Hey there, Aletheia Church. I hope you are doing well. Here is the sermon recap for the message titled "Empowered by Great Grace." If you remember, we opened up looking at Ephesians chapter 2, verses 1 through 10, and we saw the incredible grace that God has bestowed upon us. How once we were walking according to our own flesh, walking according to our own desires, following the prince of the power of the air, following the sons of disobedience. But God, in His great and amazing grace, saved us. Not because of anything we've done, but surely in love for us, whom He has chosen, whom He has elected, He has predestined, and whom He has called His own children. And this grace is so great, it is so amazing, and it is not because of anything we have done. It is only because of God's sheer grace toward us. And He's done that so that no one could boast in what they have done. But in light of what God has done for us, we are expected to go out and do good works in the world. From there, we really looked at the two different stories in Acts chapter 4. We looked at the story of Barnabas, who was one of the lead givers in the church, and how he sold a piece of property and he took it and he laid it at the apostles' feet, giving everything that he had in his possession at the time to the early church. And we said that what we could look at in Barnabas's life is that he let go of his possessions, but he held a tighter grip on people as he became a follower of Jesus. We then contrasted that story with the story of Ananias and Sapphira. Honestly, one of the most terrifying stories in all of Scripture. Ananias and Sapphira, they sell a piece of property and they lie to God and to the church and to the apostles about how much they sold it for. And because of that, God struck them dead. And the key line and the key point that I made out of that is where God is intensely present, God judges sin intensely. And so we then did a little deeper dive into Ananias and Sapphira and looked at the root cause of their sin. We said that the four root causes of sin are power, pleasure, praise, and control. And in this, we saw that they were looking for the praise of men. They wanted others to think well of them. They may have been looking for power in some way, or control in some way, or pleasure in some way. We don't know what they planned on doing with the other part of the money, but we do know that they were looking for the praise of men. But the big, great sin that they had was that not only did they sin intentionally, but then they tried to cover it up. And we said this is a very dangerous thing to do as followers of Jesus, is to sin against God and then to try intentionally cover it up, try to put on a good face in front of other people, try to cover it up so they don't know, try to cover it up so that God doesn't know, but yet God sees everything. And so the big encouragement was to look at the sin in our own lives and to ask ourselves, is there any sin in our life that we are covering up? And rather than covering it up, we should confess it. Because God, we've already seen, is incredibly gracious. We've seen that God is incredibly merciful toward us, that even when we sin intentionally against Him, if we will confess our sin to Him, if we will confess our sin one to another, God will be incredibly gracious to forgive. So as you enter into your time, I hope this review helps you out. Have a great day.